Here we go, CBS Sports HQ. I'm Chris Hassel, joined on set by Danny Kanell as we kick off conference media days around the country. We've got the Big Ten in a couple of weeks. You're going to be out there. Got the SEC next week. Right now, it's the Big 12 taking center stage and Coach Prime taking center stage today. Does it feel like, Danny, that they're a little bit under the radar here as we go into this season compared to Coach Prime's first 2 years there?
Without question.
One of the reasons is Shedeur is not one of the quarterbacks.
Exactly. And no Travis Hunter, one of the best players in the country, no longer there either. Also, there's been some concerns about Coach Prime's health. He hasn't been in Boulder. He's been taking care of some things. So they've been very much under the radar, quiet, and I think it's by design as well, because I don't know what to expect from this team. So I don't think you're going to hear Coach Prime with as many bold proclamations as he's had the last couple of years.
Well, he was asked about his health today, and he said he was not there to talk about it, that he wanted to talk about his team, and we'll discuss the quarterback battle in just a little bit. But first, here's Coach Prime in Frisco, Texas, where the Cowboys practice, saying that he wants to end up down the road at Jerry World for the Big 12 championship game this year, where they just lost out on that a season ago in a four-way tie for first.
We want to win. We want to win at all costs. We want to be in that championship game, not here at the Star, but over in that other big house that Jerry's built. That's what we want to do, and that's what we're gearing up for. That's all we're playing for. We play to win. We don't just play to compete.
And if he truly believes that and his team truly believes that, they might be the only ones, because they don't have a preseason poll in the Big 12 anymore. But if they did, it would be surprising to see Colorado picked even in the top 10 among the 16 teams, Danny.
No doubt. They've lost so much talent off this team. Not only Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter, but a wealth of production on the offensive side of the ball at the wide receiver position and the running back position. So there is a large amount of questions around this Colorado squad. And it's also the first time that Deion Sanders, Coach Prime, has been without his son Shedeur. He coached him at Pee Wee football. He coached him in high school. Then when he was in college at Jackson State, coached him there, and then had him when he was at Colorado. So there's always been that stability of, you know exactly what you're going to get in the quarterback. And you got great play from Shedeur Sanders. That has been a luxury for Coach Prime that all of a sudden he's going to be without. And there's massive question marks at the quarterback position, the most important position on the field. And they had one of the best passing offenses in the country. Now there's a big question mark there. I think that's going to be the biggest hurdle that Coach Prime has to overcome.
Yeah, will it be the 17-year-old or will it be the veteran? Caden Salter from Liberty in his final year of eligibility. They went in the transfer portal. They paid for him, but they also have Lewis, who is a close to a five-star, borderline 4 or 5-star quarterback, but he's only 17 years old. This is what Coach Prime said about the quarterback situation today.
We brought both of them because I don't know which one's going to start.
My question to you is, would you be comfortable with a situation where both guys play?
Yeah. As long as they're doing their jobs and we're winning, we definitely want to continue to develop Juju, but Caden is unbelievable. Caden's off the chain. He's been there, done that. He can get the job done. I wouldn't have brought him here if I didn't trust him. But Juju is coming on around the mountain when he comes. And I love him. I love what he brings to the table. I don't know how it's going to play out, as long as it plays out. We can't lose either way.
So Juju, the nickname for Julian Lewis, has a little bit of Shedeur in him.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Just why? Why do you want to set that standard for yourself? Like, be your own person. Like, he's taking the celebration, I don't even know. Is there a nickname for, like, what Shedeur did with the watch? Like, the watch thing? I don't know what it's called.
It's just the watch thing.
Yeah, it's just the watch thing. Be your own guy. And I think he's incredibly talented. But I think ultimately when it comes down to, I think you'll see both quarterbacks on the field for Colorado this season. Maybe in week 1 at the same time. You might see him split series. And I think it's a testament to Coach Prime that he brought both of them. He said, I don't know who's going to start. If there's that much indecision, a lot of times if there's no differential in practice, when you would ideally hope to see someone develop as a clear-cut starter, you're going to roll with them in the regular season to see who performs best under the bright lights and who performs best in the system that you want to run. There is one thing I know for sure about Colorado. This offense is going to look completely different. They were so pass-heavy last year. They had the worst rushing offense in the entire landscape of college football. That is going to change. I actually talked to Marshall Falk, who's their new running backs coach there, and he's, I was talking to him about the offense, who's going to play quarterback, and he's like, I'm not sure, but I guarantee you one thing, we're going to be committed to the run game. And Coach Prime is right. Caden Salter is a guy at the quarterback position. Had a little bit of a step back last year at Liberty, but but 2 years ago led him to an undefeated season, put up big numbers, and he's a dynamic runner. So I could see him adding the running element to that offense and then sprinkling in some Julian Lewis to kind of see what he's capable of, let him be that kind of passing quarterback. But they're going to go with two guys until they figure out the one. I just think it's so interesting, the difference. And Coach Prime openly admitting, I don't know who my guy is. Do you remember when he introduced himself to the Colorado boosters and his team? And he said, I got my quarterback with me. Shedeur Sanders had not taken a snap at the FBS level. He had only played at the FCS. Unequivocally their starter. This is yet another dynamic that Coach Prime will have to navigate in this uncharted waters post Shedeur Sanders, post coaching his son. How do you handle that quarterback room? Because it's not always easy. You can see factions and it start to form in the locker room, who the team thinks is better. Today's landscape, you've got to keep players happy or else they'll transfer. It's going to be really interesting to see how he handles this quarterback room.
You cover up a lot of issues with a quarterback as good as Shedeur Sanders was, and the top talent in all of college football, Travis Hunter, playing every snap on both sides of the ball, some special teams as well. But now they're both gone. What else outside the quarterback position do you have questions about?
Everything. I mean, this was not a great defense last year. I mean, they've got to, show up and go ready to play. It was kind of an embarrassing performance that they had about BYU. But the one thing they have majored in is the transfer portal, and they have not been shy about it. But the thing that concerns me, and you've seen this at a bunch of different schools, including at Florida State, my alma mater, when you major in the transfer portal, it just can be incredibly volatile. Coach Prime's first year at Colorado kind of fell off the rails. It didn't quite work. Last year, it worked great. And then you're kind of back to the drawing board with an entire new roster and a lot of turnover out there. So once again, they have one of the better portal classes in the entire country. They've kind of set recruiting aside, apart from some high-profile recruits like Julian Lewis. Jordan Seaton was a recruit who's one of their bigger, better offensive linemen. That's a good thing for them. I think the offensive line will be better, but there's still way too many concerns across that roster for me to say they belong in the top tier of the Big 12, because there's some teams returning a lot of talent, returning quarterback talent, and they're coming off better seasons last year.
Colorado with a win total of 6.5. They start out the season at home as an underdog against Georgia Tech. What do you see when you look at the schedule?
I think the schedule does not do Colorado any favors, and what I think is going to be a rebuild year for the Buffs, it's just going to be tough. I do think they lose that game against Georgia Tech. Haynes King comes to town. Brent Key, the coach of Georgia Tech, you talk about running the football. He is going to try to impose their will on Colorado, and I do think he has the success with that. But you look at the schedule. They play Iowa State, Utah, Arizona State, Kansas State, four of the top teams in the Big 12 as far as predicted by the odds makers, the toughest teams that are out there. They face them all. I don't think it's going to be easy, not to mention TCU, another one that's going to be a tougher road matchup for them. I think it's a gauntlet of a schedule within that Big 12.
You have them going 5-7 this season and all the way down at 13th in the Big 12. If that happens, what's the future look like for Deion there?
So, like I said, I think Coach Prime, I think he's been a little bit quieter. He hasn't been quite as braggadocious this offseason. I think he realizes that, and I think that would be completely normal. I don't think it would be a cause for concern. There's a lot of youth, a lot of new players. Until I feel confident with the quarterback position and the stability there, it's hard for me to say, yep, this team is just going to be right back towards the top tier of the conference. So I think it'll be normal. I'll take Coach Prime at his word when he says, I'm here for the long haul. I think he likes it there in Boulder. He's got the total support of the fan base and the administration, the athletic director, everybody else. And I think you look at this and say, this is a rebuild year. When I do think they'll start to realize is that maybe they have to balance out the transfer portal with the recruiting to have sort of a mix so you don't have to have such volatility season by season.
And Danny picking Arizona State to win a conference that it feels like any of 7, 8, 9 teams could win this thing. Last season, Arizona State picked last, won the conference. That's why they did away with the preseason poll. Much more Big 12 talk on the latest Cover 3 podcast with Danny and the crew, talking preseason polls, media days, reaction, and coaching hot seat talk as well.